Shut up. And I didn't want to follow him around the corner because I knew he was going to blow crack dust in my face. And if y'all did not know, that's how you make crackheads.
Yeah, why the fuck wasn't I on the lineup?
Was not an official member of the lineup.
Yeah, seriously, who's running this fucking thing? Why wasn't I fucking on the official lineup? Seriously, heads are gonna roll. Yeah, why the fuck?
Welcome back, Window Lickers. It is me, Joshua Joseph, the voice, here for another amazing moment. And I'm bringing it to you here from the studio of the Window Lickers creator. Do you hear them? They're the crowd. They're going wild, and you should be too. Tonight we have a great episode, and I'm going to just pull back the curtain and be honest. This episode, there was multiple dates that we lined up, but with my work schedule and everything, some things kind of happened. But this dude is totally okay with it, and he really worked with me on it, and we're finally going to get it here. I have him on cam, so as long as he does not cut the feed, we're good. And I know we won't because we've been talking about this for a while. So without further ado, I know you might have seen it at the top, but we're going to hit it again while we bring him on, and we are bringing on it is the grunmiester himself. Let me pull out of this. There he is. Grunmiester, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm good, Joshua. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. So stoked that we finally got the cams going, the computers on, and the interview down. This is exciting, man. I'm really honored to have you on the show and thankful for you to join me.
No, I'm glad to be on.
Awesome. So, why don't you tell my fan base just a brief summary of what you kind of do on the internet?
Okay, so on the internet, I will play games, sometimes stream, sometimes put out TikToks, shorts. Kind of been a person that's really been looking for my identity in the content creating streaming world. But I've mainly stuck to Call of Duty, wrestling, and sometimes horror games, and just whatever piques my interest.
I gotcha. And fans out there, I met Grunmeister through people you've already seen on the show. We started off the new season of A Moment with Joshua with the top guest who brought us all together, the Lou. Fantastic episode. If you get a chance, go back and check it out. You really get to hear and see Lou's world that he created, and you get to see the fun that he brings, which brings me to Viking, where I became friends with him, and now Grunmeister. We bonded over wrestling. Let's be honest. That was where
Absolutely.
Our big bond was. And you know that the field I'm involved in, and obviously we've seen you in the chats and the in your house Sunday house parties, which we greatly appreciate you being a part of that. And everything you always say always has like a good either debate or like behind it. You're like, well, he's pretty right with what he's saying. So, where did your love for the actual entertainment of wrestling come from?
Honestly, it was just by accident. My dad, he watched it back in the early 2000s, 90s, but uh he wasn't a hardcore watcher. Like he'd have it on because it's something that he kind of enjoyed, but didn't always have it on. My earliest memory is Kane walking down to the ring for a ladder match with Triple H before he had to remove the mask on
Oh,
Raw. I'm
okay.
like, I'm like, I don't know if anyone knows that night on Raw, knows which episode of Raw that was. That was my earliest memory, but I didn't start watching it uh till like 2 weeks after Cena had beaten Jericho in an "You're Fired" match.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow. That goes back a while. I
yeah.
remember those matches you're talking about. And the ladder match. How old were you when you seen that?
Oh God, I could have been so. The "You're Fired" thing. That was like 2005, so I was like 10, 11. I probably was 6 or 7
Oh my goodness.
when
Way too
yeah.
young to be watching that
Yeah,
that exact
yeah,
match.
yeah. I just started watching it right like a couple years before they ended the bra and panty stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's kind of a cool era that I'm starting to find that a lot of more people that I connect with when I do these, those are their like eras that they started diving into wrestling, you know?
yeah,
So it's almost like WWE kind of molded certain people to be friends later on down the road when they meet, you know, and they get
yeah.
outside their little bubble where they grew up.
Oh
I
yeah.
like that. That's really cool. So where are you now in wrestling? Like your fandom and who you're watching and who you're checking out?
I know there are a lot of diehards for both promotions, but I have gone back to being WWE uh because I with WWE AEW finally did what they were supposed to do, what their job was, is tell WWE, hey, either make better product or we will end you. But that's what WWE did. They are making a better product. And I think I thought the era I started watching was good product.
Yeah.
But afterwards, like, yeah, I found TNA randomly because I'm like, ugh, WWE's not on and I'm bored with that. And I found TNA randomly. Rhino gores someone randomly as I'm flipping through channels. I'm like, what?
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm a huge Rhino fan.
Oh, yeah.
He was I mean, he still is amazing. But I mean, the old young Rhino was just amazing. Like people, if you did not see ECW TNA Rhino, you didn't see Rhino because that dude was a beast. And when he speared people or gored people, he gored them, and it was no getting up. And if you got up, you were getting way more punishment dealt to you. And you know what I really appreciated about guys like him and the TNA era that you're speaking about
Yeah.
is that it felt more relatable to the characters.
Yeah.
The product, as you were speaking, was better and more relatable to the general audience watching. So it kind of it really shows a testament to the minds that these guys have in developing characters and storylines and things like that in wrestling.
Yeah, funny. I just thought of Sting and AJ were having AJ Styles were having a rivalry, and it's like they were both kind of playing babyface. I remember Sting saying, "You're a coward. You abandoned your family."
Yeah.
AJ finally says he abandoned because his father was a drunk and beating his mom and stuff. And it's like that the crowd, and it was so emotionally dragging people in. It was
Oh yeah.
amazing. It was great storytelling. It was great wrestling. Everything that we wanted.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So you said you're back at the WWE for, you
Yeah.
know, where you primarily tune in. Um, what are you liking with the storyline of the Bloodline?
The
We'll
blood.
just go off with the
Yeah.
biggest one that they got
We
going.
might as well. All right, so I'm not, I haven't made a final decision on how I'm feeling about it yet, but like they're keeping my attention.
Yeah,
The who was it? Tamaloa? They
the newer guy that
yeah,
they brought. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, Tamaloa showing up. Like my first instinct was like, oh, that's Jacob Fatu. No. Like
yeah.
they Triple H knows how to swerve people. He knows how to swerve
Oh
the
yeah.
fans. And you know what? Like I think this is a great addition. While I may not be too very familiar with then was a Bulkster, too familiar with Tamatanga and Tamaloa as a tag team or as individual wrestlers, but I know their reputation. So I
Yeah.
know, okay, if they right now they kind of have a leash on them, but
Mhm.
when they do take the leash off, there's really no telling what we're gonna see.
I like it. I like it. So where where I stand with where they're at, I mean, Heyman said it best. What was it? Months, maybe a year ago, where he said we're only in the third inning because it seems like that because they're plugging and playing. Well, let's there's so many people that are
Yeah.
professional wrestlers in their family. It's like, I
Uh,
mean,
I
we've discussed it on IYH, and it's like, you know, they probably got a niece in the third grade that's just
yeah,
ready
bro.
to go. Man,
I watched this other YouTuber. He did a full breakdown of the family, and it's like, oh my god, the gorillas of destiny are related. This person's related. Like what?
yeah, it's a huge family tree, and
Yeah,
you know,
it's deceivingly big.
yeah, and I mean, I'm here for it because
Oh
they're
yeah,
giving us great story writing. Now, outside of wrestling, you said you do a little game streaming.
yeah.
Okay, so where is your main focus on what game, like when you stream, and what gives you the most fun when you actually do stream the game?
Um, so lately, like I've been in a bit of a rut where I'm not really having the kind of fun that I was having gaming.
Mm,
But when I was having fun, it was Call of Duty with friends. It was playing the new Resident Evil games. It was playing games where I'm just interacting with other people and I've found a way to mesh with them. Like, okay, there's good chemistry here. We're all playing off each other. We're having fun. Kind of like one game that I really did love and am sad that it's kind of dying is Friday the 13th.
yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't gotten Texas Chainsaw Massacre yet, but it's on my list. But so is Shadow of the Earth Tree.
Okay,
3DS.
okay. So where do you where is your goal to take your streaming? Like, if you want to share with
Yeah.
the crowd.
I mean, like, if I did have a goal, it would be obviously take it full time, but at the same time, I'm like, if it feels like a job, is it really worth? If it feels like a job, is it really worth it?
Mm,
Because I already work a job and working too, and while I understand and appreciate the hard work that it takes to achieve the goals like this, at the same time I'm thinking, well, if my heart's not in it, like I need to figure out why is my heart not in it, why am I not putting in the effort and the time, discipline, and passion that I need to make this work.
you know, it's very interesting you bring that up because I also earlier this year was stuck in that spot. I
Yeah.
know the feeling. I know it very well. And it kind of gives me always like a uplifting feeling, kind of like a motivation, I guess, is like, and I know this is going to sound mundane between me and you because me and you know, but watching Lou, like seriously, watching the way that he controls the show, you know, it gets out of control. We've both been there and we've witnessed that. But the fact that he can rein it in and still have a fun time. And we both know, because he's been very open about it. He went through a hard time here just recently with the idea of streaming and everything. And, you know, a few of us, he brought us up in the show, but you were one of them who reached out to him and was like, dude, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, we're here, we're doing, you know, if you're not streaming, we can be friends. Like, there was a whole group that are like that in that community. I find it hard to plant into something like that. Am I sensing that you're finding that too? Like, to get that kind of community built up that gives you that drive, you know?
Yeah.
What you're missing.
Yeah, it's it can be hard. I in about 2019, 2020, I found a handful of people that I loved gaming, loved playing games with, or even just sitting around and just shooting the breeze with. I found those people in more recent times. Like, it feels like we're drifting away a little bit. I know one's he's not professionally competitive at Call of Duty, but he's competitive, and I'm not that good at it. So it's like it's become harder because he started playing with better players. He's playing other games that aren't as good, or that aren't as well funded as Call of Duty. People are like, the world is, and I had this conversation with a friend. The world is trying to go back to how it was before COVID, and I think there are still a lot of people, including myself, that are still getting over the fact that, hey, we can't be gaming all the time anymore. We have to go outside and do things. We have to. There's more to life than just video games and staying inside on the computer all day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see where that can cause a little, you know, strife in whatever you're doing, just because you're right. I mean, COVID did get it. It allowed the world of podcasters, streamers, video game players to like actually be in their world that gives comfort. I mean, I dove hard. That was when I first had my my very first podcast, and me and my podcast co-host at the time, like, we were trying to stream 3-4 times a week, you know, and it was like it kind of got to a point though where we ran out of ideas. I mean, I was using a green screen and covering myself in another green screen and being a floating head in my studio. Like, that's where it went to for us. And, you know, it was fun. It was fun, but it was like, what are we doing? And then wrestling opened up. See, that's where my whole podcasting world kind of turned. And it was during the COVID era. So wrestling's opening up. I'm getting invited to go to shows. It makes me miss that time though. I mean, I don't miss what happened to the world, but you know, I miss being able to just do that and have that. So I can understand where you're coming from on that. What was your first game that got you into actually playing video games? What hooked you?
Elder Scrolls Skyrim.
Oh my gosh. What did you get suspended from school and have to sit down and play it? Because that's how I got hooked on it.
No, but like I was just at a time where I had become completely disconnected from any high school friends I had. I mean, I discovered video games really early. My parents, they just randomly got us a PS1, and they got us Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Spider-Man, Spyro Ripto's Rage. So it's like I was pretty much hooked on it the second I found this stuff. The second I started playing this stuff. So loving video games so much. I'm always every year I was asking, more video games. And ended up becoming addicted to the stuff and didn't really develop the social skills that people need in life.
Do we really need them though? I mean, look where we're going. I mean,
there are definitely some people I don't want to socialize with at all.
Yeah. Oh, I'm there with you too.
Yeah.
Those are the people I tend to, go on the other side of the street. I'm like, yeah, you're giving me bad guy vibes. I'm out. Yeah. What do you envision gaming in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
I think we're in an interesting spot because we're seeing independent games or indie developers starting to make headwaves, and I think just independent studios, independent developers, not just in games but movies, music, we're seeing it in all three.
Oh yeah,
they're starting to get bigger, they're starting to get more popular, and independent artists are staying independent because they're making more money, they're getting more attention because they're getting flack for being independent. But back to gaming, like it's the independent world. I think you could even compare this to pro wrestling. Like what's happening is the major corporations have been sitting good for 20 years, and have never had to not put any more effort into it, because now you know what, they know how to make money. They know, okay, make cuts here, and we're technically making more money than last year. Now they have to put in work.
Yeah. No, that you're spot on with that, because I mean, look at the work they are having to do. Like they're making, just for example, I mean, you're taking LA Knight, a guy who's already been in the industry, has already done his thing, and he's catching later on in life, almost like a DDP type career. So where do we see the councils or the way that we're going to, I guess, digest the form of entertainment, the content, the video games, because look, have you been seeing the like new ones that they have, the VRs where it's got the suit on it, what do they call that, hiptic suit?
No, I have not, and I do have an opinion on VR. I believe it's a fad. I don't believe that it's actually going to get as popular as everyone is hoping or thinking it's going to get. I think people are going to get bored with it sooner rather than later. I think
really,
I believe that there are people that are trying to make it popular. I believe that there are people trying to keep it relevant, but I can't see it being something that is feasible if they're just here's more equipment you need to have for it. By the way, it costs this much more. Well, you might as well just go buy a new console.
True. Or you could just get the Neuralink, and then you're all downloaded in. And then those eyes go into the snowy screen on a television, and you're just off into another world. Man, I don't know if you've even dived into the Neuralink.
Not too much, but I've heard about it.
Ooh, just thinking of the possibilities of it from what I've seen Elon say, what he wanted, why he made this, and then once you go out of the actual like great things it can do for people who have paralysis, who are injured from being over in wars or an accident or something like that, they're going to be able to have mobility again. They're going to be able to use the body that they were given, but just the mobility was taken from them. But then once you get outside of that, it gets a little darker, because you can upgrade, you can do it's weird little things that you can, there's possibilities in it. So you can get hacked. You can get hacked. And it's not just by, crazy things that you read. It's actually like somebody could figure out a way to hack your mind. And then where do we go? Like it's a very bizarre playground when it gets into that. But I like where you're at with the VR being a fad, because I have 3 13-year-old girls.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, they're only separated by like 3 or 4 months, but the oldest one, she wanted the VR headset. The other two didn't. They weren't really into it. They were interested in their iPhones. I can't even tell you the last time she picked that thing up.
Okay.
And it was set up for her demographic, it was supposed to suck her in and, have her want to play this thing. She plays it she used to play it like once a week, maybe with some friends, just so that they could communicate. And plus, it was during lockdowns and things like that. So it was helpful for her to keep with her friends and things like that. So I'm wondering, do you think that would have like kind of helped like people who dove more into video games? Like if we had that in our generation, do you think that we would have been able to, because I have some really social weirdness too. Like I have to think about so many things before I do one thing that it's ridiculous. And my wife, I know she wants to, I can't say it on here streaming because it will get kicked, but she wants to do things to me that are not nice. So I've thought about that though. I thought that when I would put it on and kind of interact in it, and I'd be able to hang out with my friends, a bunch of 40-year-old dads, on VRs, just hanging out and shooting pool and things like that. But it seemed, obviously it was fake, but like a virtual world, but it seemed like a real aspect to it.
Yeah. If this technology was around 20 years ago, I definitely think people would be different, but I don't. But it's hard. I can't tell you what I think people would be like, because I have 2 younger brothers, and 3 of us are different on some levels. We're very different. On other levels, we are very similar. But my middle brother, he did everything that he was supposed to do after high school. He was, and even during high school, he was far more social. He was more into sports. He wasn't as into pro wrestling. He went to be a teacher, grad school. Well, now he shares a apartment with some friends. And me, like I have a degree in film and video production, and
cool.
because I stayed home, personal things got in the way and delayed me getting the degree up until 2020. So many things, just I need to step up for my family at that time to get stuff done, to get that taken care of. And then by the time I had finally gotten back to finish my degree, I didn't have my portfolio, got lost somewhere. I didn't have my portfolio from high school. I wasn't making videos on the side or just for fun. By that point, like I had nothing other than a piece of paper that said, "Hey, I'm certified in this." But at the same time, I know people that are looking for people that are good at it. They want a portfolio. So I'm like, okay, well, I went into warehouse work. So he and I were very different. We think differently. And if VR technology, if this way of gaming, online gaming was a lot bigger in the 2000s, if it was at the level it is now back then, I couldn't tell you what the world could be like. It could be nothing could have changed and everything stayed the same, or it could be people would become far more comfortable with staying inside and not going outside at all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you look at it logically.
Yeah.
I'm one of those who look at it like, oh, look at the possibilities. There's a shiny object over there. So yeah, I like how you bring it logically right back to it, man. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying on that. And it is kind of weird how, like, if you do follow what they say is the social norm and you do those things, you can always end up right back where you started,
Right.
like it doesn't always work out. And but when it does, it does. And I must say, before we go any further, has anybody ever told you you look like a kinder version of Dean Ambrose? Like
I
if
have
Dean
never
Ambrose wasn't so mad all the time.
I have never heard that, but now I love it. Yes, thank you very much.
Well, I
Much,
see it. It was
I mean,
fantastic.
Renee Paquette's probably the last wrestling crush I've ever had.
Hey,
Hey,
see it?
she's
Here we are.
yeah.
Maybe your alternative timeline, Dean Ambrose, like who never got into wrestling, just enjoyed watching it. I might be onto something here. Window lickers, look into it.
That's not that crazy.
Oh, that's really fun. No, when you were talking and like when you got serious, dude, I swear to God, I looked down and I was like, he looks so much like Dean Ambrose if he was so nice. But so VR, we've talked about that. I don't really do it. I know kids and things like that in my daughter's classes, they're into it, but not a lot of them. So my question to you from that is, what game are you most looking forward to coming out that you've heard about? Maybe not that you expect always the Maddens, you always expect a Call of Duty, but is there a game that you've heard the rumblings, because you kind of look into more of the wide spectrum of gaming with how we talked about the indie creators and things like that. So is there anything you're hearing out there that you're liking, you're wanting to dive into?
I'm thinking of this. This one just popped in my head. Medieval survival. I think it's called Blight. It's it's like post-apocalyptic in medieval times. It's like there's zombies and stuff, and you're a knight.
What?
Yeah. Like
it sounds interesting.
It is. It's on. It has a page on Steam. It's been a while since I've looked at it, and only because the last time I got excited about a game, I think it was gonna be called Darkborn. It was codename Project White. You played as a monster, going after the humans that killed your Den family. Killed the
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like it was complete flip flop. I'm like, that's actually really cool. The gameplay looked good. The game got canceled before it even finished. Before they were done with it, they couldn't finish production on it.
That's crap.
Yeah, like you came up with a really cool idea.
Yeah,
and it's like it. I'm sure the 15 minutes of gameplay is still on YouTube somewhere. Where I definitely encourage it. If anyone thinks that sounds interesting, look it up. Like it was definitely looked like it could have been a really cool game.
Well, where do you go to look for indie games? Where you personally?
I go to YouTube. I follow a handful of different YouTube channels that talk about gaming, and so I'll get recommendations for some trailers. I follow IGN, while maybe not always the coolest, but they tend to get a lot of trailers. They tend to look for trailers and stuff. So it's like, all right, well, with me looking, I find these randomly, and I just decide for myself, hey, am I interested in these or not? I look for videos where it's top 10 games are coming out this year. While I may not have heard of the games or seen the trailers, like it's probably a game that doesn't know how the development team doesn't know how to market it. and just trying to get attention.
You know, the throughout this talking to you, I'm starting to get more of a sense of you. I mean, we can laugh and chats all day long, but I'm starting to see that you kind of look at everything very like numbers wise. Like
Yeah,
this is where it's supposed to fit. This is where this is supposed to happen. If you do it here, this is where you're. How does that work for you? Like, I know you can't explain, like,
yeah.
but, like,
I could
a
probably explain
mind
a
like
little bit.
mine okay, a mind like
Okay.
mine is like, "Holy shit, man, I would not be able to function like that."
So my dad is an accountant, so that
Ah,
I think right
okay.
there, I think right there that okay. Math was always easy for me. Although my high school always kept me in 4.0, even though I was acing it every month, and even in my senior year, I'd half-ass the homework half the time and still kept over a 90. And I would just do the homework in class sometimes, and like why am I still in this class? Do I belong here?
Yeah.
I'm like,
I have an aunt who went through that too.
yeah.
She was so pissed. I used to sit and watch Jeopardy with her, and she would
Yeah.
just rattle off answers, like, left and right, and I'd be like, "What how?" Like, I didn't even go to school half
Yeah.
the year and still was way above everybody else.
Oh god.
I can't do it at all. I have to, like
Yeah.
I have to sit down, and if I'm studying for something, I have to, like, read it over and over and over, almost to where it becomes like a rhythmic thing in my head
Yeah.
where I can just spit it out. So, I used to sit in class and envy people who can just look at something and break it down and just put it in its spot and then reveal the picture to you.
Yeah.
And so, man, that's I know it's a kind of a nerdy thing to geek out about, but I'm geeking
No,
out
it's
about that just because I almost wanna be like, "Okay, here's a problem. Let's figure it out."
yeah. No,
So,
I love that stuff.
that's awesome. Do you do, like, math puzzles and shit like that? What do they call that?
Uh,
Sudoku?
n no, like, maybe if I had started doing them, in middle school or high school, I probably would still be doing them today, but I just never got into them. One, like, I guess brain activity that I was introduced to by my 8th grade social studies teacher.
Okay.
He would put a historic phrase or something like World War II or Treaty of Versailles or something, put it on the board, and at the start of class, we'd have like 2-3 minutes to figure out how many words can we find using only the letters on the board.
Okay.
Or so it's like so that was one that I always found in uh entertaining. I
Yeah.
guess because it was I guess that helped bring out more of a competitive side of me,
Mhm.
and like, oh, I can do it better than everybody else. Like no, it was pretty tight competition, but it was always fun.
And you know what's so funny about that? While you're saying that, in my head, I'm just picturing you taking words and putting them in rows and making them perfect. And be like, "I made
Yes.
this word, I made this word." Like, that's how I was just thinking. I was like,
Yeah.
"Man, I wonder if that's how his brain worked with that." No, that's really cool. Do you still, like, kinda like, did it put an imprint in you that, like, if you see a sentence, you kinda, like, maybe every once in a while, just for fun, do that? See
Yeah.
if you can make words. Yeah,
Yeah, once
I
in a
could
while.
that's really cool. I like that. I like my favorite thing was, uh psychology. I
Okay.
loved I loved the idea of sitting in psychology class and being like, "Okay, so you can actually put people here, here, and here, and kind of have a percentage, maybe 60% or above. You can kind of predict where their outcome's gonna be." And it was very unique and just intriguing to me to be able to sit in a class and then be like, "Well," like, they looked at me, they're like, "Well, you speak out a lot in class, you're kind of a little disruptive, don't really see you go far." I'm like, "Well, that might be true," but then, you get the little kick behind you and you get a
Yeah.
little further than what they wanted or
Yeah.
thought you would, so it's always fun. What'd you like in school? Like class sizes.
I loved history, liked math. English was all right. I like it when I have a love hate with English. This one year I had this really not cool English teacher, but for the most part I've had pretty cool English teachers, and for the most part I had good books to read. In 8th grade we had co-ed English teachers. Mrs. Burke and Mr. Yeah, it was weird. It was 4.0 English, which so for my school 4.0 was like it was for people that had like ADHD or had trouble paying attention, but they didn't have mental disabilities like Down syndrome.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah. So we had this class. So we had them. We were reading an Edgar Allan Poe short story, The Monkey's Paw.
Okay.
Well, we walk in. Mr. Garcia's not there. Mrs. Burke tells us he's not here today. Like when we get to the climax of the story, he jumps out the closet screaming with a fake skeleton. They were just their idea was, we need to keep these kids entertained. So how are we going to do that? Or that's at least what I'm assuming, because like every day, like we were there and every day we were excited to be in the class. People that I would have thought, oh, they're going to be disruptive. They're going to make this suck for me. Like everyone was excited. Everyone loved them. So everyone paid attention. Everyone behaved in the class, and everyone was participating in the class. It made that class so awesome.
That's awesome.
So it's like, more than anything, what I loved about this was when I had awesome teachers. When I had teachers that really wanted to teach, that really cared about their job, that like, I want to educate you and give you all the tools you need to succeed in life.
I love that. I can safely say I had one teacher that was like that.
Okay.
I mean, my school was more who you were, what your last name was, and that's where your attention got. But I had an art teacher, Mr. Ellsworth, and that dude, I used to he had this couch that was like in front of his desk. So his desk would be behind the couch, and he would just sit there and he would talk to you. You could sit on the couch, do your sketches, whatever art project you were working on. And he would sit there and talk to you. And man, I learned a lot from that dude. Like he used to tell me about, because him and his wife, they ran like it was like a at-risk youth camp type thing. Where he was telling me about, like, you know, some of the stories he was seeing with these kids coming in one day, and then the day that they leave, they're completely different. And it was like, he was like, man, don't ever stay in one area. Go out, adventure, see the world. I never seen the world. I mean, I went to I guess the Dominican Republic. I've been there. I've been to Canada once. I've been to Mexico once. So that's really not the world. That's just,
I mean, more than I've traveled.
Well, okay. Well, then I got one up on you. There we go. Hey, that's a win. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're out. What, Grun? I know we have talks with a certain person that was a guest, Viking, and we have an idea floating around. I honestly want to get your thoughts on it. What kind of, like, if you could, we're talking about TNT. It was a show that Lou and Viking both created, and it was just so much fun. Like, I would love to be able to just like download that and give it all to you guys, just so you could experience like the fun we would have.
Yeah.
There was times where we were doing promos in the chat to each other. You know, it was so much fun. Like, it really got to a point to where it was just like, it was like something that we were in, you know, something that just created from nothing, just fun. So if you could you just, you know, kind of talk a little bit about what we've been talking about?
Well, so we've been talking about bringing the show back. We've been talking about who's going to be involved. you Viking and myself. We talked about a lot of different like names for upcoming events, planning things out ahead of time, and at the same time, we talked about me streaming it, being the one to host it,
Okay.
essentially, which like I'm definitely all down for. I'm so I it's been a while since I've been excited about something stream related, so it's like I'm in. Um, something that has just been rattling around my head the last week that I can't get out is how much I loved the entrance videos for Raw and SmackDown when I came in. It was when I first started watching pro wrestling. When I was first watching Raw, it was "Want to Be Loved" by Papa Roach. Made me fall in love with that band, and the video I thought was awesome. It was an awesome entrance video. SmackDown, you had the fist, the fireworks popping off at the start of the show, like in my head, like that's like we can do that and spend a minute or two at the start of the show, short video and short fireworks or something, and get like I get LED lights or something for my fan, and just really put on a show and really just have so much fun with it.
Man, I love hearing it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're getting me more excited when you talk about it because it's fun. Like, and
Yeah.
I know I mean, because here's the thing: when I do these moments, I find everything goes full circle because look where we were
Yeah.
when we were talking about streaming at first. You were saying, you're kind of feeling like you're in a little slump. It's kind of like, your friend he's more taking it more competitively and
Yeah.
you're just like wanting to have the fun. And then now we're coming into a thing that we know can be fun because of the community and the people who are behind it. I mean, we have one of the co-creators with it. And then I mean, I know both of us had mass amounts of input and ideas for the show, and Lou or Viking were never hesitant to either let us know if it would work or it wouldn't work,
Yeah.
and they always appreciated what we brought to them. Um, does that mean that we're no? Because Lou he was a personality too on there. I was gonna say, does that mean we're not allowed to be wrestlers on the show?
Yeah. No, like that was one thing I was thinking. I'm thinking like, well, because I was thinking about that, like, well, like, we could alter the names a little bit, or we could change the names that we go by when we're on the stream as ourselves. So I was like, like that. I know that's popped in my head, like, and I know me personally, I definitely wouldn't mind that because I've got one or two wrestling names that come to mind. Like, yeah, I could definitely go with these names and make a character kind of like that or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just the voice.
Yeah,
That's all I do. I
yeah,
found one character and I stick to it. I don't
hey,
even care
that's
if it's
fine.
working. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
keep with it. That's my character.
And you know what? That's something that three of us can talk about and decide. Like, do we want to really take the? Do we want to? Do you want to make this aspect more controlled? Like, hey, personalities can't be
Yeah,
wrestlers, or do we just want like? Well, no. I mean, like, we've done it before, and you know what? There's just because we're doing this for fun, it doesn't matter too much.
true. And I mean, Tony Khan's out there taking bumps, so we can too.
I swear to God, if I see him in a wrestling match, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. Like oh
You
God,
should have
I,
lost it with the neck brace crap.
I
That's where
didn't.
you.
That's the thing. Like, I think I can't remember when this was. This must have been sometime last year. Um, I completely got uninterested in AEW. Completely lost interest.
I was just going
And
to ask you about that.
and for me, like it is mainly the fact that it is turning into Tony Khan is buying up every big name he can, and it's like, dude, I don't care about Mercedes Moné. I don't care. You have not given. You didn't give me. You gave me a reason to care about Rusev or Miro, and then you didn't. And then you fumbled with him. You gave me a reason to care about Brian Cage. Then you fumbled with him. You gave me a reason to care about all these names: Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, Brody King, House of Black. You gave us reasons to get excited about these new signings, and you fumbled with them. It's like, dude, all right, like, why should I be so invested in it? Was I excited when Saraya came back? Absolutely, I was excited. But I completely lost interest when she started playing the babyface, calling AEW her house. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
It's like I was excited because you introduced me to some punk snot-nosed brat from Long Island, New York named MJF. I got excited because you introduced me to Anna Jay, who you swerved us, which was a good move because what'd you do? You teamed her with Brody Lee to say, hey, Brody Lee's going to take her under her wing and she's going to get better. And she did get better.
Yeah.
Same with Julia Hart. Like,
Yeah.
you got me excited about new talent or talent that have been on the indies for 10, 15 years, like Scorpio Sky, who just never really clicked with the fans. But you introduce SCU, Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, and Scorpio Sky. I'm excited. I was thrilled to see them be the first tag team to be the tag team champions.
Yeah.
It's like you did all this right. Matt Hardy is, I think it was Matt Hardy who said it recently. The honeymoon period is over. You need to put in a hell of a lot more work now.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
because I love Jon Moxley. I love this version. I love it. I love the Blackpool Combat Club. I'm not going to turn it on for the Blackpool Combat Club when I know that the part that I cared about the most was that they were about training and bringing Wheeler Yuta up to the level of Bryan Danielson, of Jon Moxley, of Claudio Castagnoli. Like, I was excited about that. That storyline was awesome. I was so in. But it's your storyline became AEW storyline, at least, is ratings are going down. Who's free? Who's free? Who's free? We could dig up Macho Man Randy Savage. Do it.
Yeah. Get him out here. Yeah. Give him a couple Slim Jims. He'll like them. Yeah, I totally agree with you because I was streaming Collision on a regular basis, and then I was slowly seeing it, and I'm like, you have to do more than just show me a big name, because I've seen this game. WCW pulled it back in the day. I've seen it. I've been there. I don't need it again. I need good story writing. I need people who want to be there, people who want to actually push the product forward. I understand that there's so many different personalities out there when you have a company, a promotion like that. But at the end of the day, if you're the boss, if you're the head guy signing the checks, if you're the reason why that promotion is funded, you carry a bigger stick than what you think, and you need to look at it at a realistic idea. Jericho, I love Jericho, and he's an amazing talent in wrestling, and he is trying in ways to make sure the younger talent does get to go up a notch. And then there's times when he's not doing that because he's taking up TV time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on, how many champagne toasts do we need?
Yeah. Like I was all in for Inner Circle. I was completely down with that. Showing us Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager had an complicated contract situation, so it's like I understood why we didn't see him as much, which made sense. But you also were bringing in and showing, saying, "Hey, we brought in the former LAX from TNA who cleaned house in LA in TNA as the tag team champions. We're bringing in Santana and Ortiz, two guys that are red hot, and they became white hot in literally off camera 2 weeks, or Santana's unavailable for 2 weeks, and you can't. I've decided, you can't convince me otherwise, that them losing their tag team title shot, which apparently is what they were going to get, that you can't tell me that that's punishment for him saying, no, I need to take time off for my father's or grandfather's passing. It's like, you can't convince me other, because if that was not an issue, you would have put the titles on them anyways. You would have known that you could have gotten them white hot again, just literally 2 weeks off. That is it. That is all you had to do. Just wait 2 weeks. And you don't think that they couldn't have gotten the crowd so hyped, so pumped?
Oh yeah, they could
again. Like, you have, like, we with WWE and AEW, we see the most talent-filled rosters we've probably seen since the 90s, since the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah.
And the only difference here is that AEW, from day one, they showed that they knew how to do it. And now all of a sudden they forgot how to book talent. They seem to have forgotten how to book a show, while WWE was in a bit of a frenzy for a minute, but that frenzy's over. Triple H is in charge, and every decision he's made, no one, like, I don't tell people when they do listen that, Triple H is always great. I'm like, no, you just got to sit back and enjoy the ride, because if you are trying to predict what he's going to do, you're going to be wrong.
Yeah, you're 100 on that one, man. I love the fire you get when you speak about these things. It's an awesome thing, man. You really got, you can see you got a passion for this form of entertainment you like. And I'm there with you. I mean, AEW broke my heart. I mean, I have Double or Nothing. It's up there with my WCW United States Championship belt. Like, I take pride in my AEW love, but like, it's gone. It's you've killed it. And I know there's one thing that can bring it back, and it's all in how they bring back MJF.
Yeah. I love MJ. I don't care if WWE water down MJF if he ever does decide to leave AEW. But it's like, dude, if when MJF comes back and you are just making the show, all the MJF shows, like, that's going to work for a few months. I love MJF. I love him. He is absolutely 100% the best worker. He is the best promo. He is this generation's pioneer. He is he is the guy to carry the torch from Cody, from Jericho, from Mox. He is the guy to lead a new generation of wrestlers. But you will not survive as a company, not with everything that we've seen.
No.
Okay, because, like, it's been too long and we've seen what you did. And do now one thing that popped in my head, when Heath Slater and Rhino were being teased as a tag team in WWE, Heath Slater, as a fan, I thought, why should I believe that you're going to do anything exciting with Heath Slater? You've done nothing interesting with him. You've done nothing to make me interested. The only thing of note that he was part of was Nexus. That's it.
Yeah.
And you fumbled that too. So I'm like, but you got me interested in Heath Slater and Rhino as a tag team.
Yeah.
As I got kids, I gotta buy them a pool. I gotta buy them an in-ground pool. It's like and that was at a time where WWE did not always really even hit the ball. But WWE, they took a character that people did not have faith in, and they made him matter. It's like, that's all you got to do. You don't need to make you don't need to make you don't need Orange Cassidy. You don't need to make him world champion, but you need to make him matter. Hook, you don't need to make him world champion, but you need to make him you need to make these people matter. Exactly. And like, it's
I get
it's painful.
You know, it's frustration.
I am, because like, I was in a lull with pro wrestling when AEW was announced. I'm like, okay, if this happens, like this could be interesting. I'll keep my eyes open. They signed. I hear they signed Chris Jericho. I hear Cody Rhodes is part of it. I hear that the Young Bucks and Elite and Kenny Omega are part of it. Now Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks at that time, like I was not that well informed on them, but I knew they were a big deal on the independent scene. So I'm like, okay, so you're bringing in people that seem to have a lot of connections. You're bringing in people that seem to really know what they're doing. So, okay, you got my attention. Double or Nothing makes me fall in love with wrestling all over again. The very first one. And I'm buying every show leading up to the debut of Dynamite. And you have me. I am Team AEW from the first episode of Dynamite. And literally, it was the Bloodline storyline. It was somewhere around the time that Sammy was finally getting himself into the Bloodline and getting Roman to listen to him a little bit more. Probably around this show where the Usos couldn't get in because they were in Canada and DOI stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think it was around that episode of SmackDown that I started getting back into WWE.
So that was the storylines that you kind of started folding back into.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, Grun, this has been a fun time, man.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if you had fun. I had
fun. Yes.
I really thoroughly enjoyed having a great conversation with you, man, and learning more about you. Can you give the fans a real quick where they could catch your streams,
Sure.
where you're at, maybe in some of the chats that you're in when they go streaming?
Yeah. So anyone who watches this now or later, if you want to check out my streams, it's I'm Grunmiester, GRUNMEISTR, or on Twitch. Right now, I don't really have much of a schedule. Drop a follow, and I usually try and stream on the weekends more recently. And my weekends are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that yours are more sporadic. Like I'll be working or doing something in the outside, and I'll look down and be like, "Well, Grun is on right now." Like I am not in a position like I could be driving, and I'll look down and see you on. I'm like, "Wait a minute."
So I know I try and stream my reactions to the pay-per-views. Like I gotta figure something out though, because I'm sitting down the entire time, and I'm not gonna be able to do that for the entire stream because I'm gonna fall asleep, unfortunately. Yeah. So it's like I gotta figure something else out with that.
Well, I hope you do, man.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I have a couple ideas I'll run by you on some things that we got coming up. But we would love to have you back on if you ever in the future want to jump back on and have a conversation with me and the Window Lickers.
Oh, I definitely do. Definitely.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And, you know, fans, when you have friends out there that you meet in just a random weird dude's chat where he's just, entertaining masses, eating disgusting jelly beans, eating hot ones, spraying his mouth with old expired NWO spray. You kind of, take these moments that we build and you kind of, appreciate them more. Grun, I truly, I feel like we're building more of a friendship here.
Absolutely.
And, this is going to go a little further when we get into the TNT things and trying to get all that stuff put together. And I really hope and I can't wait to see what the product looks like. I can't wait to see what me, your, and Viking Mind just kind of mold together and make.
Yeah, and I mean one other thing on that, I got a friend who's making me new banner stuff, new overlay stuff for this specific stream. So this is definitely gonna be exciting.
I'm so here for it.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. Fans, friends, fellow Window Lickers, people who hate watch. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining me and my friend Grunmeister here. He's a streamer out there on the old Twitch channel where you can go out and you can support people doing the indie thing out here. people talking, people doing interviews, people video gaming, people doing pool parties. I don't understand that one, but it's got a niche and people subscribe to it. I don't
Yeah,
know why you
apparently.
would, but hey, go ahead. You might see a pool in here one day if the views get too low. So,
Yeah.
always be on the lookout for that. But fans, friends, you know me. It is I, Joshua Joseph, the voice, part of In Your House Productions. You know where we are. You can find us here Sunday doing the In Your House Sunday house party. It's a fun time and it's a good talk with some of my friends and fans. We are going to be funding the WrestleMania trip next year in Vegas. Merchandise will be coming out soon. And when I tell you merchandise, I'm telling you a shirt that is going to make people stop you in traffic and ask you, where the fuck did you get that shirt? Because I need it. We're going to be bringing back some really cool moments from wrestling back in the day and just, kind of putting some faces to those bodies that maybe didn't belong. But other than that, you can catch me on the Monday night Raw review and preview show where I go over some of wrestling's 3 big topics from the previous Raw, and then I give you some insight on what I think is going to happen coming up next. After that, man, you can catch me anywhere out there doing things. I hang out in my friend the Lou out there in Twitch land. I hang out in his stream usually Mondays, usually sometimes Tuesdays, Wednesday. He streams a lot, but you can always catch him tonight. You will catch him actually here in about 24 minutes. Lou will be going live, so go check that out. I believe he's doing a Fuff revive for one night. Either that or he was talking. I don't know. It was late last
I think
night.
it's I
Yeah,
think it's Fuff for one night, and I think it's Halo Infinite.
Oh yeah, I think you are completely right on that one. So, fans, friends, if you had a good time here and this little moment in time that we created for the Window Lickers, come join us over there. You will see me in the chat. I give a lot of shit to the host and to a certain Viking who's just out there sailing the seas, acting like he runs everything out there in the old seas. Ugh. Me and you, Viking, we're going to have a battle of the ships one day. But fans, friends, everybody out there, thank you again for joining me here on the Window Lickers. And I cannot wait to catch you on the next one.